Category fraud at the Oscars. It happens all the time in the acting categories. What are some more egregious examples? Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender, and it's time for another top 10 video about category fraud. Like in the last video, I'm not talking about lead actor or lead actress in this one. We're only focusing on performances that were nominated in supporting actor or supporting actress that really should have been lead. Let's start with number 10, Best Supporting Actress, Cate Blanchett, Notes on a Scandal.
Why did you do it? Because I didn't help you collect your cat. You've cost me my family.
So something that's been happening at the Oscars for the last 30 years or so, over and over, is when you have a film with two excellent co-leads, and the teams behind the actors think, okay, we don't want to have both Judi Dench and Cate Blanchett competing in lead actress for Notes on a Scandal, so how about one goes lead and one goes supporting? I talked about this phenomenon all the time in the last category fraud video. It was the case with Carol, also starring Cate Blanchett. In that case, Blanchett went lead and Rooney Mara went supporting. And then Notes on a Scandal a few years before, Judi Dench is one of those legends that unless she's in like 8 minutes of the movie, like she is in Shakespeare in Love, she's going lead. Belfast, I think, was the only other example where she was supporting, but for the most part, she's lead for all of these nominations. And Notes on a Scandal really is a movie with two co-leads, Dench and Blanchett. We go back and forth between their two stories, and so this was a case where Blanchett probably should have been in lead actress, but they don't want two people from the same movie in the same category duking it out. Remember, the last time two people from the same movie were nominated in the same category in either lead actor or lead actress was way back in 1992, Thelma and Louise, Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. If Thelma and Louise came out now, they would figure out a way to put one in lead actress and one in supporting actress. And one of the big question marks, I think, of all time is which one would have gone supporting for Thelma and Louise? Would it have been Davis or Sarandon? I still haven't really come up with an answer to that. Notes on a Scandal, on the other hand, you can make the case that Dench is a little bit more the lead, I guess, than Blanchett, but it's pretty close, and so I do think this Best Supporting Actress nomination for Blanchett is an example of category fraud. Number 9, Best Supporting Actor, Casey Affleck, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Must have had a list as long as your nightshirt when I was 12, but I seem to have lost some curiosities over the years.
So here is another phenomenon with category fraud I also talked about in the last video, where you have a movie with a big star and then kind of a lesser known actor. The lesser known actor is in more of the movie than the bigger star is, but simply because that person who's in a little bit less of the movie is more famous, we think of them as the lead actor, and the not so famous person is more supporting. I talked about this with Haley Steinfeld in True Grit, Jamie Foxx in Collateral, and here it is again in The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Casey Affleck is the lead of this movie. He's in at least 20 to 30 more minutes of the overall running time, and we really do see this film through his eyes. I guess Brad Pitt that season was campaigned in lead actor, even though he never got much traction for that performance. It was the Casey Affleck performance everybody really responded to in that movie, so he's the one that got in during award season, including his first Oscar nomination. In supporting actor, like that one's kind of a stretch. That is much more a lead performance than it is supporting, but because Casey Affleck is not as famous as Brad Pitt, we gotta put him in supporting. Once again, category fraud in this case is very silly. Number 8, Best Supporting Actress, Geena Davis, The Accidental Tourist.
Fill this out, your name and address, and when you'll be back. Don't forget to put when you'll be back.
Now here's an example of category fraud from the 1980s with one of my favorites, Geena Davis. I'm so happy she has an Oscar. I think she was also deserving to win for the aforementioned Thelma and Louise, but she was duking it out with Sarandon in that category, and so Jodie Foster, of course, won her very much deserved Oscar for The Silence of the Lambs. But in 1989, Davis won an Oscar for The Accidental Tourist, a film also starring William Hurt and Kathleen Turner. Davis in The Accidental Tourist gives a very memorable performance. She's wacky, outspoken, she's kind of the heart of the movie. But is that a supporting performance? I look at the supporting actress category in early '89, and it doesn't seem fair in a way that Davis won there because everybody else in her category had significantly less running time in their movies. Like, it would have made more sense to give this trophy to Sigourney Weaver for Working Girl, or Michelle Pfeiffer for Dangerous Liaisons. Like, those are clear supporting performances in their movies, where you could argue in The Accidental Tourist, Geena Davis is borderline the female lead. She's in a lot more of the movie than Kathleen Turner is. Even though William Hurt in that movie is the clear leading role, Geena Davis is in enough of the movie where I do question putting her in supporting actress on that one. Number 7, Best Supporting Actor, Ethan Hawke, Training Day.
You know this shit was just business, right? Right.
Alright, once again, are you seeing a trend here? Because Ethan Hawke is working with the great Denzel Washington, one of the finest actors of his time, one of the most famous actors on earth. Denzel Washington goes into lead actor for Training Day, whereas Ethan Hawke has to settle for supporting. Can you really call Hawke in Training Day a supporting performance? No. I think most people would agree he is definitely a co-lead in that movie with Washington, but like, we were never going to see Hawke in lead actor with Washington. Like, maybe if this movie had been made in the 1950s or 60s or something, up until the 1980s, Amadeus, like, you would see it all the time. Lead actor, lead actress would have two people from the same movie, but then people got smart and they were like, you know, if one person is in lead and the other person is in supporting, you have a better chance of, first off, them both being nominated, and then you have two chances at wins instead of just the one. Of course, for Training Day, Denzel Washington ended up winning the Academy Award for lead actor. Ethan Hawke was just happy to be there in supporting actor. If Hawke had been campaigned for lead actor, there is no way in hell he would have been nominated. So it makes sense from like a strategic standpoint. Let's have Hawke go supporting, but it is so ridiculous. They are co-leads in that movie, and I feel like Hawke is in even more of the running time. Number 6, Best Supporting Actress, Julia Roberts, August Osage County.
3 days ago, I identified my father's corpse, and now I'm supposed to sit here and listen to you viciously attack every member of this family.
So this example of category fraud bugged me a decade ago. It still kind of bugs me now. Julia Roberts, August Osage County, supporting actress? Give me a break. No, she is not supporting anything in that movie. The only reason Julia Roberts got into supporting actress for August Osage County is that the one and only Meryl Streep was campaigned for lead, so naturally we're not going to have Julia Roberts also in lead up against Meryl. Best Actress was very competitive that year. Like, Emma Thompson didn't even make it in for her incredible performance in Saving Mr. Banks. Julia Roberts was not going to get into lead actress for that movie. Her best shot was supporting actress, which she got into, I think, everywhere all season. Julia Roberts in August Osage County gives one of her best performances of the last 20 years easily, maybe the best performance she's given on film since Erin Brockovich. So I'm happy she got nominated, she got recognized for her work. But to me, I don't know how you feel about this, Julia Roberts is very much the lead performance in that movie, and Meryl Streep is more supporting. It's a big ensemble cast, there's like 10 to 15 great actors in that movie, so it's not like we're just seeing Julia Roberts' story by any means. But Roberts is in so much of this movie, lots of scenes without Meryl Streep. The movie ends on Roberts. It's kind of her story by the end of the narrative. So yeah, it just feels kind of weird. Julia Roberts in August Osage County is not a supporting performance. Number 5, Best Supporting Actor, Christoph Waltz, Django Unchained.
Alas. No, we must act as our own bartender.
Alright, Christoph Waltz has won 2 Oscars in Best Supporting Actor for Quentin Tarantino movies. The first one is an all-timer. I love his performance in Inglourious Basterds. That is a clear supporting role. He was very much deserving of that nomination and win. Hallelujah, great, I love it. And then 3 years later, he wins again in supporting actor for Django Unchained. That's another great Tarantino movie, and Waltz is terrific in it. But I found in this scenario that Waltz was very much the co-lead of Django Unchained with Jamie Foxx. The supporting actor roles in that movie are by Leonardo DiCaprio and Samuel L. Jackson. Like, those to me are the supporting performances. If we're going to give Django Unchained an Oscar nomination in supporting actor, it should have gone to DiCaprio or Jackson, not necessarily Waltz. That one's kind of weird to me, especially because he won. Here we have a situation, once again, where Christoph Waltz was never going to get into lead actor for Django Unchained at the Oscars. I mean, that year especially, Best Actor was stacked. His only chance was in supporting actor, so that's what he was campaigned for, and that's what he won in at the Oscars. So it's like, we can't really point fingers at anybody. Right now, Christoph Waltz has 2 Academy Awards on his shelf. It would have just been 1 if he had been campaigned in lead actor. Like, I'll keep saying it, I get it. I get why category fraud happens. It makes sense on a logical level, but it's still not right. It still is like, there's a whiff of wrongdoing and manipulating the system in a way that, especially 5, 10, 15 years later, it makes you feel kind of icky inside. That's what I feel about the supporting actor Oscar win for Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained. That was a lead performance, not supporting. Number 4, Best Supporting Actress, Alicia Vikander, The Danish Girl.
I need him. Can't you just get him? Can you at least try?
This is a win I feel like I've brought up on the channel before. I've called this in previous videos a bad win, a win that should have gone to someone else in the category, an example of somebody winning in a given year at the Oscars for the wrong movie. In early 2016, Alicia Vikander should have won an Oscar not for The Danish Girl, but for Ex Machina, my favorite film of the year. She is absolutely sublime in Alex Garland's science fiction film, so daring and original and memorable. And like, she doesn't even get nominated for Ex Machina, she gets nominated for The Danish Girl, the more awards-friendly end-of-the-year movie, and then she wins for that? Like, is anybody revisiting and enjoying The Danish Girl today? I can't imagine. There's many. But then you also have the category fraud of it all, in that she is in a lot of The Danish Girl, and you can argue she is a co-lead in that with Eddie Redmayne. The Golden Globes, I don't say this all the time, got it 100% right when they put Alicia Vikander in the lead actress category for The Danish Girl and the supporting actress category for Ex Machina. Like, even though at the Golden Globes she didn't win for Ex Machina, that was the right placement. But then at the Oscars, they give her the supporting actress nomination for The Danish Girl, and she wins over much better competition, I would say, like Kate Winslet and Steve Jobs, and especially Jennifer Jason Leigh in The Hateful Eight. I guess you could make the argument that Academy members were rewarding Alicia Vikander for both The Danish Girl and Ex Machina, but on the statue itself, the one she looks at today, it says The Danish Girl, when it should say Ex Machina. I don't know. I don't like this win very much. It hasn't aged well. Alicia Vikander, I think, is in way too much of The Danish Girl to be considered a supporting anything. Number 3, Best Supporting Actor, Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Show some discipline! It's a goddamn rat in here, Bobby, and when I find him, I'm gonna smoke him out!
What a totally weird situation this was. All season long, in early 2021, the person from Judas and the Black Messiah who was being campaigned in supporting actor was Daniel Kaluuya, who went on to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. You could make the case that he is not supporting anyone in that movie, that Daniel Kaluuya in that film is more a lead actor. And then to make things even more confusing is that I believe the studio for Judas and the Black Messiah was campaigning Kaluuya in supporting actor and Lakeith Stanfield in lead actor. It wasn't happening for Stanfield. Like all throughout the season, the performance from that movie everybody was responding to was Kaluuya, and lead actor, like it almost always is, was totally stacked. It was hard to break in there. So it seemed like on Oscar nominations morning, Stanfield was going to be snubbed, and we were only going to get Kaluuya in supporting actor. And then this wacky bonkers thing happened where both Kaluuya and Stanfield got into supporting actor. These are the two leads of the movie. The story revolves around them, so if they're both supporting in Judas and the Black Messiah, who is the lead actor? like who is the lead of the movie? Like, that was very, very weird. It was the biggest surprise, I would say, on Oscar nominations morning in 2021, how Stanfield, who had been campaigned in lead, showed up in supporting. It is very baffling. I mean, most everything about the 2020 films and the 2021 award season was baffling. Crazy things were happening in the world. So it's like, I don't know what happened there. At the end of the day, I'm happy Lakeith Stanfield has an Oscar nomination. That's really cool. He is excellent in Judas and the Black Messiah, as is Kaluuya. So I guess you can look at it as like, well, they both were recognized for this film. Kaluuya even won. But I feel like if this film had come out 30, 40 years before, those two actors would have been put in lead actor, not supporting. Number 2, Best Supporting Actress, Emma Stone, The Favourite.
Abigail, hand me that cup.
Do not. I'm sorry. I do not know what to do.
Oh, fine. Give it to her. And then you can get a bucket and a mop for the aftermath.
Okay, so here is definitely an egregious example of category fraud. I don't know how I forgot to put in the last category fraud video, but here it is at last, Emma Stone for The Favourite. This, kind of like Judas and the Black Messiah, was also very weird and wacky going into award season, the way the film's actors were being put in the wrong categories. Like, when you watch The Favourite, you really do see the story told from Emma Stone's character's perspective. She is in more of the movie than both Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz. I looked at the numbers this morning. Emma Stone is in about 48% of The Favourite. Colman is in 41%, and Weisz is in 36%. So Rachel Weisz going supporting, okay, that makes sense. But then having Stone go supporting and having Colman go lead was kind of odd. I mean, it's hard to make the argument that Colman is more the lead of the movie than Stone is. I mean, it worked out for Olivia Colman, right? She ended up winning Best Actress over the presumed winner, Glenn Close, for The Wife. That was a true stunner. And if Colman had gone supporting, I'm not confident she would have beaten Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk. Same thing with lead actress. If Emma Stone had gone lead for The Favourites, I do think Glenn Close would have an Oscar on her shelf right now. There's no way Emma Stone would have won lead actress just 2 years after her Oscar win for La La Land, so Glenn Close would have taken that. Olivia Colman going lead and not supporting for The Favorite was the decision that kept Glenn Close from finally winning her elusive Oscar. Now, in my research a few hours ago, what I read online is that Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz wanted to see what Olivia Colman wanted to do for the awards campaign, and it was Colman, allegedly, who said, I want to go lead, not supporting, and because both Weisz and Stone didn't want to compete with Colman and lead actress, they both decided to go supporting. I do think if Colman had decided to go supporting, then Stone would have gone lead, and we would have had a much different outcome. The Favorite is a little tricky because you have 3 great, rich performances by women, and it's like, are they all supporting? Are they all lead? It's kind of difficult to figure it out. But if there's one performance in that movie that should be in lead and not supporting, I would say it's Emma Stone. And now finally, what did I pick for my number 1 choice? I am going way back to the 1950s on this one. My pick for the number 1 most egregious example of category fraud at the Oscars of all time is Best Supporting Actor Richard Burton, My Cousin Rachel.
I'd like very much to see her. Perhaps you'll write that to her. Tell her that Philip Ashley is rather a plain man living in rather a plain fashion with no fine manners whatsoever.
Alright, full disclosure, I had not heard of this movie until a few hours ago. I was doing my research, I was like, the first video, I picked Tatum O'Neal in Paper Moon as a very egregious example of category fraud. She is in virtually every frame of Peter Bogdanovich's film, and she won her Oscar in supporting actress, not lead actress, which is so crazy more than 50 years on. For my number 1 choice in this video, I wanted to find something similar. Like, what's an example of a movie in decades past where someone got into supporting actor or supporting actress and they're in basically every scene? I found it, and it turned out to be one of our greatest actors, Richard Burton, who famously was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and never won. His very first nomination came in early 1953 in Best Supporting Actor for My Cousin Rachel. He was very new to the cinema scene in his mid-20s. This was kind of his breakout role, his first big role in a major motion picture. And thankfully for me, My Cousin Rachel can be watched in full on YouTube. And so a few hours ago, I watched this movie. It's only about 90 minutes. And outside of a couple prologue scenes at the very beginning, Richard Burton is in virtually every scene for the rest of the movie. He is in My Cousin Rachel for about 85% of the running time. This is his story. The movie opens and closes with his voiceover. Like, his voiceover, too. So why the hell is he in Best Supporting Actor and not lead actor? There are 2 reasons. One, the lead female role in the film is played by Olivia de Havilland, who by the early 1950s was very much a leading actress. She had by this time won 2 Best Actress Oscars for To Each His Own and The Heiress. Olivia de Havilland was very famous by this time, so I guess you could make the argument that she will be lead, whereas Richard Burton will go supporting, just because we don't really know who that is yet. He's younger, he's kind of untested, so it's kind of like that Timothy Hutton Ordinary People supporting actor nomination, because he's not as well known as his co-star or co-stars. He goes supporting, and she goes lead. And then 2, what I read earlier today was very blatant. The studio did not think he could get into lead actor. They also apparently thought if he could get nominated in supporting, then he'll probably win, because I guess he's in so much of the movie. I don't know. That was a very weird decision. I looked at the Best Actor lineup, and of course Gary Cooper, who won for High Noon, is great. but it's not like every single nominee in Best Actor obviously had to be there. There was wiggle room. So I feel like Richard Burton could have gotten into lead actor for My Cousin Rachel. What baffles me the most about this one is how did Academy members even let this happen? Like, anybody who watches that movie, it's clear he's the lead. He's in the whole thing. Like, how could you possibly watch that film and then vote for him in supporting actor? It's just so stupid. It's like, how did anyone let that fly in early 1953? Very bizarre. And it also looks weird because every other Richard Burton Oscar nomination is in lead actor, never supporting. So like, his only supporting actor nomination in 7 times going to the Oscars is for a role where he's in 85% of the movie and has the opening and closing voiceover. It's told through his eyes, and he gets nominated in supporting? Give me an effing break. Richard Burton, My Cousin Rachel, Best Supporting Actor. This is absolutely the #1 most egregious example of category fraud of all time. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below what are some other examples of category fraud I failed to mention in this video. Would you be interested in me making a video about category fraud in the leading categories? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.